Hey, ladies, come on in. Ladies, come on in. I think, let me let him say hi, and then we're going to have to put him up. Ooh, I don't think he going to act right. Say hey, Monica. Say hey. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'm going to have to put him in his bed. Monica is cutting up. I'll be right back. Go on and grab your books, guys. Y'all, I have made Monica a little fort and everything. I had blocked him in here. And I guess Monica's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna bite your feet. Okay. Ladies, this book is so good. This book is so good. So, first, before we dip in, who all has already read the book? I don't mean skimmed it, I mean thoroughly read the book. Hello. Who all has read the book? You have? Okay, cool. Y'all know I'm doing a book giveaway at the end. Let me announce that now. I'm giving away this 5 book set. This is actually mine. Yours is still wrapped up. I haven't even unpackaged it. I'm going to send it just like that. This is my copy. However, you have to be here live to win. Like, I'm going to pick someone who's live. Okay. So these books are by my favorite author, Robert Greene. I have the full version of all of these books. back here somewhere. That's two of them right there. Um, this man is a supreme storyteller, but we'll get on that. Today, we're discussing Atomic Habits. And let me give you a little bit of intro. So, you guys know, instead of doing like one off book reviews, I realized this after the last book review. I'm like, okay, actually, this should have been in an order, or I feel like it should have been in order. I was like, okay, I'm going to do book reviews as if you were starting college. And you're starting college as a person who is going to get a master's in business. Okay. We have to start in an order. We have to go in an order. And I have been coaching women entrepreneurs for 16 years. 16 years next week, y'all. And I have learned so much about our mindsets. As I'm learning my own mindset more and more and more every day, I'm also learning yours. Okay. Now, we are starting off the MBA for coaches with the mindset because I have found over 16 years of coaching women entrepreneurs that it doesn't matter what I teach y'all. I have had the most intimate sessions and conversations with women, and we will have figured out the most amazing strategy for their business, and they don't do it. I'm talking about we parted the sea, the clouds cleared, we really figured something out, and then they don't do it. Thank you for the anniversary. And I realized over time that it had everything to do with the fact that they had other mindset issues and beliefs that I cannot tackle. I'm not a therapist, right? And so when I was putting together this book list, I was going back and forth about the order. I said, okay, I'm going to start with mindset first. First is mindset. We have to get the mindset tackled before we do anything else. Okay, let me move this. I just sat here, built this whole little fort. He's only 2 pounds, but he is maximizing those 2 pounds. Okay, we're going to do something really quick. I want to remind the folks on Instagram that we have started. Let me do a quick video. Hey CEOs, our YouTube live stream has started. Pop on with your notebook. Yes, to get the giveaway, you have to be on live. I'll see you on YouTube live. All right, let me post this, guys, so people can pop in. Then we're going to go on and get started.
You don't want to get a Virgo?
Y'all, it's so much to cover. Like when I do my book reviews, a couple things to note, and I said this in a video. Our YouTube live stream has but let me say it again. Pop on with your notebook. Yes, to get the giveaway, you have to be on live. I'll see you on YouTube live. Hey CEOs, our YouTube live stream has started. Most of you will come to a book review, right? And you're coming to be fed. And let me explain this to you all. This is not just in a book review, this is in life in general. If you trust the food from everyone and you don't figure it out yourself, people can feed you anything. You'll come, you've never read the book, you have the book. I know a lot of you have the book. When I first posted a picture of this book some years ago, when I read it the first time, several of you went and bought the book, took a picture, and showed me that you had the book. That's when I was like, I need to start putting the books I recommend on my website because people are buying them, right? Good to see you all. So when you come to a book review, that I'm doing, couple things. To get the most out of it, you need to read the book yourself. Don't just go off what I say. You're going to have a different feeling. I'm going to break that down in a minute. Two, um, shoot. Okay, let me just go to the breakdown because I didn't forgot number two. But what I will say is this is like my third or fourth time reading the book. Okay. This is my third or fourth time. I think it's my fourth time. Do y'all know that I saw some stuff this time where I promise you I feel like I didn't see it reading 1, 2, and 3 times? So you need to read books for yourself. You can get something different out of the book every time you read it and by reading it yourself. Oh, I remember number two. Number two is I'm always going to give you a book review along a business angle. I may not cover every chapter. Okay. And this book has 20 chapters. They're pretty short. And they're chapters that I think are like you need to spend the most time at for sure. But I'm always going to cover a book review along the lines of business. Make sense? All right, let me know in the chat that you're ready. Let me know in the chat that you're ready first. Another rule. You guys have to engage. Again, if you're coming on just to be fed, girl, don't come on. Because if y'all don't engage, I'm hanging up because I got stuff to do. Lord have mercy, do I have stuff to do? We all got stuff to do, but I got stuff to do. Right? I was doing payroll this morning. And it was all kinds of obstacles and stuff. Sis got stuff to do. I do this for you. I do these book breakdowns for you. I do not suggest books to you just to make my feed on the gram look good. When I suggest a book to you, there is a very specific reason. I know what you guys are DMing me, what you guys are putting in the comments, what some of you who are my clients are dealing with. So I know, okay, this book will help the masses. Okay. All right, let's get started. Chapter 1. Open up your books, guys. Let me start off with some of my own stories. Okay. Now, somebody listened to one of my book reviews and she was not in the Women CEO Project community. She was just a person on YouTube. And I was like, maybe I should say something. But she was like, you seem to talk about yourself a lot. I don't know who you are, but XXXXX. Okay, friends, if you are brand new, you do not follow me on Instagram, you just are coming across this book review because you typed in Atomic Habits. This is specifically meant for the Women CEO Project community. These women know me. If you are brand new, sit down, relax, you will get to know me. Okay? It is all through my own lens. If you wanted to just read a book review, just basic, they have so many of them online. You can type in Atomic Habits. You have AI that will tell you what's in each chapter. If that's what you need, by all means, sis, go get that. This is through Christy's lens. So you're going to get some of Christy's stories. Okay. When I was rereading this book with you all, it hit me differently. Let me tell you some ways. I have been trying my hardest. Like I have a couple of hard things on my schedule right now. One of them is I do all of the back end of our franchises, which means that I'm learning some brand new skills. And I'm learning brand new skills, but I'm not playing with monopoly money. I'm playing with real money that's ours, and I don't want to lose it. Does that make sense? So it makes it very stressful for me. I'm learning some new stuff, but you learn with your own money, like businesses. So that's one obstacle. But one obstacle that this book, in rereading it, totally touched is that I have been trying my damnedest to get up to 5 miles a day on my walk pad, the elliptical, 5 miles a day. It has been so hard. I've gotten up to 4 miles, guys. Now, I have a walk pad right on the other side of this computer. I bought one for home last year. And that is something that they mention in the book, making your habits as easy as possible. I have a Peloton upstairs, but 5 miles on a Peloton ain't 10,000 steps. 5 miles walking is 10,000 steps, guys. Let me put that out there. That's why the goal is 5 miles. 5 miles on a Peloton is not 10,000 steps. I think you have to do 8 to 10 miles on a Peloton to get the physical output of 10,000 steps. Okay. But there is one. And one of the big points in this book is getting 1% better every day. Have you guys heard that term before? Getting 1% better, 1% better. If you get 1% better every day, it comes out to about 37% better over the course of a year. Think about that for a second, ladies. Getting 1% better every day equals roughly about 37% better in whatever area over the course of 1 year. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? So I was thinking when I was rereading this, I was like, okay, Christy, it's harder to do. First, the 2 miles was hard. Okay. A lot of times at the gym, I can do the 2 miles in the 35 minutes before we start doing weights. Then I was like, okay, let me start to try to hit 2.5, 3 miles. And I did it incrementally, y'all. It was incremental. I remember the day that I got a really good video on YouTube. And I was so involved in the video on YouTube, before I had looked up, I was at 3.5 miles. I remember that day. And this is a chapter in the book as well, right? So something that I wanted to do, something that I enjoyed, listening to YouTube videos, I bundled that with something that was hard for me, to that 3.5. But once I hit that 3.5, I remember thinking, dang, I was at 3.45. And I remember thinking, you might as well go on ahead and get to 3.5. When I got off, I saw how much time it took me. And I made a note in my phone. Right? 7,000 steps. You are exactly right. And so I made the notes in my phone. And so over time, I've been shaving the amount of time that it takes me to get to that 3.5 off. Then I got up to 4. Now my goal is 5. Now, going back to chat, let's start with chat. Let's actually start with the intro. If you are actually exactly habit stacking, you got it. You read the book. Going back to trying to be better 1% per day as opposed to having an all or nothing mindset. If I couldn't get to 5 miles, old Christy would have been like, well, I ain't doing it then. Oh, I only have 10 minutes. Well, I ain't doing it then. Well, Houston is hot as heck. Houston is hot, y'all. And August is our hottest month. We've been having, last week, we had some of our hottest days, right? So to try to make the goal a little bit easier, what did I go do? I got a walking pad, right? So I don't have to walk outside. I don't have to worry about the heat. I see my neighbors walking all the time, but I just try to get on my walking pad. Okay. So that's the first thing I want you to write down. You are trying to get 1% better every day. That's it. Instead of being frustrating and doing nothing, your goal is just 1% better. If you did 10 minutes yesterday, get 12 today. Get 15 today. If you read 2 pages yesterday, try to read 4 today. Okay? And as you get better and better at doing things, ladies, it'll get easier. I remember when I first started walking on the walk pad, I walk in the gym all the time, right? I kind of realize now why the treadmills have a little bit of incline, just a little bit. Walking on the walk pad and trying to read stuff or do stuff on my iPad, initially it made me so nauseous. I'm talking about the nausea was crazy. And I'm like, I ain't doing that. And I remember having like 2 or 3 months where I didn't get back on the walk pad. I'm like, okay, for whatever reason, I can do it at the gym, but getting home, I get nauseous. Guess what? It took consistency. Now I be on that walk pad. I can look down, I can look up, I can look. Me and that iPad can work, and I can stay walking on the walk pad without getting nauseous. So it took consistency. Okay. All right. So let's talk about his intro story, which I thought was really interesting. So this is even before chapter 1. He talks about he had an extreme love for baseball. He was 6'4". He is 6'4". And he'd been playing baseball all his life. He had an extreme love for baseball. And a boy swinging the bat slipped out of his hands and hit him directly in the face. Okay. He starts off the introduction. On the final day of my sophomore year of high school, I was hit in the face with a baseball bat. That's the first sentence of the book. Okay. The bat smashed into my face with such force that it crushed my nose into a distorted U shape. The collision sent the soft tissue of my brain slamming into the inside of my skull. Immediately, a wave of swelling surged throughout my head. In a fraction of a second, I had a broken nose, multiple skull fractures, and 2 shattered eye sockets. So you can visualize that. That's horrible, right? So the gist, that's the only part I'm going to read, but the gist of his intro is that he had to go through rehabilitation. He had to go through therapy. It took, he went into a coma that day. He had 3 seizures. He stopped breathing. So the doctors pushed him into a coma so they could control his breathing. It took him, he had double vision for weeks. It took him more than a month, but his eyeball did go back into the socket. And it was 8 months before he could drive a car again. Okay. This accident is where he learned about habits. He couldn't do everything that he wanted to do or that he normally would do immediately after having such a devastating accident, right? So he set the goal of trying to get just a little bit better, get a little bit closer to his normal activities and his normal behaviors day by day. Okay. So he completed that into high school. And whereas he was initially, a star player, definitely was going to get a scholarship, he ended up being the last person on the roster for the baseball team going into college. But he was just excited that he got on the team, right? So because he was in such a bad position because of the accident, he decided that he knew he wasn't going to play much his first year. He knew that wasn't going to happen, right? So he decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my time focusing on the things that I can control and getting better and better and better every day with small things. Okay. He was trying to make sure that when he was higher up on the roster, that he had an opportunity to play. He knew he wasn't going to play that much in his first year, right? So he is thinking of a long-term goal. All of this will come back up. He was thinking of a long-term goal. His future self wanted to play baseball. Well, his future self wanted to play baseball, but it required small habits in the present. Okay. So what did he do? He kept his room neat and tidy. These improvements were minor, but they gave me a sense of control over my life. As I improved my study habits and managed to earn straight A's during my first year, just by him having small habits, he was able to earn straight A's in his first year. He was able to go from 170 pounds to 200 pounds. Think about how slim he was at 6'4" at 170 pounds. So he was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have my daily habits down. I'm going to make sure I work out 3 days a week. I'm going to make sure that I do X, Y, Z. So he started with small habits in his life. And the end result, straight A's, gaining 30 pounds, right? When my sophomore season arrived, I earned a starting role on the pitching staff. By my junior year, I was voted team captain, and at the end of the season, I was selected for an all-conference team. But it was not until my senior season that my sleep habits, my study habits, and my strength training habits really began to pay off. Let me pause right there. What did you get from that, ladies? What did you get from that? Let me know. Exactly. It takes time and consistency. He started these habits in his freshman year. Exactly. Doing something today improves your future. It takes time. He started these habits in his freshman year, but it wasn't until his senior year that those habits compounded, right? His sleep habits, his study habits, and his strength training habits begin to pay off. Now, what is a habit? A habit is a routine or behavior performed regularly and in many cases automatically. Hey, Glenetta. A habit is a routine or behavior performed regularly and in many cases automatically. Another note I want you to take is good habits compound. Okay? Let me give you guys another real world example. I have been doing my husband's workout for a couple of years now. And, now I kind of have the hang of it. And it's very routine. Monday this, Tuesday this, Wednesday this, Thursday this. It's a 4-day-a-week workout. Doing the workout initially was kind of hard, not gonna lie to you. But now it's so like I can be zoned completely out and still do the workout. But looking at him, I'm like, is this the workout that like I remember at one point, y'all, not even gonna lie, I was like, is this the workout you did to build those muscles? And he's like, yeah, but it doesn't look like it. Like, I don't know if I'm making sense. It just doesn't seem like that would build that, right? But then as I was reading Atomic Habits, I'm like, you know what? It would build that. He's been doing that workout for 38 years. 38 years. When I think about it like that, I guess good habits do compound, right? Experience taught me a critical lesson. Changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you're willing to stick with them for years. See, I don't stick with stuff. Like I said, I've been doing a workout for a few years. I might take a month or two off. The month or two off is like, that's why you don't have it. Okay. He says maybe there are people who can achieve incredible success overnight. I don't know any of them, and I'm certainly not one of them. Now, let's talk about that for a second. Many people quit, and many people feel like, well, this person, they figured out how to do it in 10 days and 15 days and 20 days. This is precisely why I do not market anything where, oh, you're going to make this money in 30 days. You're going to make this money in 60 days. You guys have never seen me market something like that. And the reason I haven't is, first of all, I care about my reputation, because a lot of times when you see companies or individual entrepreneurs do that, they're flash in the pan, in and out, bad reputation. They're just trying to get you to buy something today, right? I'm sitting here knowing that a lot of the things that women want me to teach them that I've done in my own business, they have taken years. We definitely have tools and resources available right now that can move you further up, but still compounding habits. Good habits compound. Okay. Small wins and tiny breakthroughs. Write that down. He went from a coma to academic All-American through a series of small wins and tiny breakthroughs. I remember when I first found out about James Clear, okay? And it was really about him. I got on his newsletter list. He talks about his newsletter in this book, okay? I got on his newsletter list, and the newsletters were very simple. Very simple. However, they were very consistent. Those newsletters and the consistency of them is why his book immediately went to bestseller status. He decided in November 2012, I began publishing articles at jamesclear.com. For years, I had been keeping notes about my personal experiments with habits, and I was finally ready to share some of them publicly. I began by publishing a new article every Monday and Thursday. Monday and Thursday. Okay. When I found James Clear, he was doing more than Monday and Thursday. So it was obviously later. Within a few months, this simple writing habit led to my first 1,000 email subscribers. Hear this. He started November 2012. By the end of 2013, a year and a month, that number had grown to more than 30,000 people. What y'all think about that? This is on page 8. To write a great book, you must first become the book. And he talks about becoming this book, learning and developing very small incremental habits for himself. He had to rely on small habits to rebound from his injury, get stronger in the gym, to perform at a high level on the field, to become a writer, to build a successful business, and to simply develop into a responsible adult. Rereading this book made me think about the growth of my Substack list and just kind of going back to how he grew. And I'm like, you know what, girl? That was meant for you to read. That is why I tell you, read for yourself, right? And even if you've read something before, read it again. Different things have come up. Isn't it? His 321 newsletter. Different things have come up just in business and life where the second time I read the book, it hit me differently, right? When live streaming first came out, you guys have heard me mention this, but when Instagram first gave the feature of live stream, let's say live streaming was available on Wednesday. Do y'all know when my first live stream was? Somebody want to guess in the chat? The very next day. Like literally, let's say live stream started on Wednesday. I did my first live stream on Thursday. And in the first year, I did 174 live streams. So in 365 days, I did 174 live streams the very first year that it was available. Now, before I was doing Instagram Lives, I was on Periscope. Who remembers Periscope? Y'all remember Periscope? Periscope was before live streaming on Instagram, before live streaming on LinkedIn and YouTube. It was Periscope. I did a lot of Periscopes. It also helped me sell books. Live streaming was and still is a way to build trust with your audience quicker. Live streaming was and still is a way to build trust with your audience quicker. Live streaming definitely helped the bottom line of Women CEO Project and several of my clients' businesses. You can look at me and say, sis look a little shifty. Or, you know what? I think I trust her. I'll watch her live tomorrow. Okay, then I'll watch another live the next week. Okay, I've been watching Christy's live streams for 3 months. I'm going to go ahead and book a discovery call. Okay, after discovery call, I'm going to go ahead and book her for coaching. When I tell you how much live streaming has helped my business and some of my clients' businesses, you think that you need to wait to get on a stage. Sometimes your stage is you popping up your phone and getting on live stream. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Chapter 1, he talks about the power of atomic habits and the power of increasing at 1% every day. For a lot of people, they have a goal and they want to pop out with the goal. Like when I started reading about the people doing the 10,000 steps, right? Because of course I did way too much research. I could have done an evening of research, maybe 2, got that little walk pad and been about my business. But I did probably like a month of research. But I was seeing people that went from zero, y'all, from couch to 20,000 steps. Now, I found the most complaints from the people who went to 20,000 steps. And I'm sitting there thinking, what will possess you to go from you walk? You can look at your phone, y'all. If you have an iPhone, do me a favor right quick. Go to the app, the health app that has the heart in just a white box. Okay. If you open that up, it will tell you your average steps over the last 7 days, and it will give you your steps for today and for yesterday and last week. Now, if you walk around your house a lot without your phone in your pocket, well, then it's not going to be accurate, right? But let's say you average 1,500 steps a day, and you go from 1,500 steps a day to 20,000 steps in a day. You can expect your body to be like, girl, not at all. I quit. You might be able to be motivated enough to do it for like a day or 2. Several of the people that I looked at on YouTube who had done it for like went from nothing to 20,000 steps, I don't think anybody made it a week. And I'm like, now, even I know you need to start with a smaller goal, sis. So chapter 1 focuses on you understanding that 1% better every day is still great. 1% better every day compounds. Okay? There's this one phrase called The aggregation of marginal gains. The aggregation of marginal gains. Tiny 1% improvements compounded daily produce massive results over time. Okay? Do not let the trap of overnight success throw you off. Do not let what you see make you not even start. What you see online, it looks like this person just overnight. More than likely, removing the scammers for a second, more than likely, by the time you notice someone, they've been grinding it out for multiple years. You just didn't see those. Does that make sense, ladies? Let me know in the chat. Does that make sense? Little axe strikes will exactly. Little axe strikes will eventually bring the tree down. Exactly. Okay, if you have your book, go to page 19. One of the things that stuck out to me on page 19 was him talking about positivity and positive steps compound, but so does negative steps. Oh, it just like popped out at me. Stress compounds. Go to page 19. I had to sit and look off at nothing and just think to myself, if he ain't never lying, stress will compound. Just like positive steps compound, negative things compound. Going to pick up someone from the airport, I think I was picking up at like 8 or 9 o'clock. And the airport is about 45, 50 minutes away from where I live. And the highway to the airport is one of the most stressful highways in all of Houston. By the time I got there and got through traffic and all the truck drivers that are trying to run you off the road, then I get to the airport and them people got an attitude at the gate. They don't want anybody to park. If your person ain't outside, they want you to make the loop, make the loop. And I had this woman scream at me. I hadn't even slowed the car down yet, but I had the window down and she screamed at me after I had driven that 50 minutes. By the time I did my pickup, I was so frazzled. I remember that day like it was that was last year. I was so frazzled. And I said, how do people do this every day? How do people go through this level of traffic? And Houston's traffic is becoming one of the, I think we're the top 3. Horrible. And so I realized that let me try to be gracious, more gracious with people that maybe are going through this traffic every day. I was doing a one-off pickup and I was like, I ain't doing this no more. You're going to take a cab, a Uber, because I don't like doing this. But I'm thinking about people that have to go through that every day. That stress is absolutely probably compounding on them. Parenting responsibilities. All these things can compound. So keep this in mind. Whereas good habits can compound day after day, so can bad ones. Okay, I wanted to point that out. All right, let's go to chapter 2. Y'all, chapter 2 and chapter 3, more so chapter 2. You know, I made a little video earlier today and I was talking about how business books don't make me cry. It's business. Like I can't think of anything in a business book where I'm just like crying. Yep. Chapter 2 and 3 though. Let's talk about it. This is where I'm going to spend the most time today. Let's talk about why. It hit home. Chapter 2 is titled Your Habits Shape Your Identity and Vice Versa. It often feels difficult to keep good habits going for more than a few days, even with sincere effort and the occasional burst of motivation. Habits like exercise, meditation, journaling, and cooking are reasonable for a day or two and then become a hassle. Changing our habits is challenging for two reasons. We try to change the wrong thing, and two, we try to change our habits in the wrong way. Let's talk about a couple of reasons why I want you to think about it like this. This is how I wrote it down for myself. This is Christy's note. Who do you want to become as opposed to what do you want to achieve? Who do you want to become as opposed to what do you want to achieve? That's very important. Go to page 30 if you have your book. Go to page 30. I have a lot of notes here. Go to page 30. 3 layers of behavioral change. This is to me, this is the most important chapter in the book. I'm going to tell you why. But this is the most important chapter in the entire book to me. In this chapter, if you are kind of in and out, is how your habits shape your identity and vice versa. So 3 layers of behavioral change. First is the outcome layer. This level is concerned with changing your results, losing weight, publishing a book, winning a championship. Most of the goals you set are associated with this level of change. A lot of people stop right here. You know, one thing that's very important, and this a Christy thing. Write this down. Winners and losers have the same goals. Winners and losers have the same goals. Setting a goal ain't it. Winners and losers have the same goals. What's the difference between the winner's goals and the loser's goals? Somebody tell me. Exactly, Kay. Kay read the book, y'all. It's the system. Winners and losers have the same goals. I have women that will tell me that they're going to do X, and I have other women who tell me they're going to do X. And then I have some women that actually do it. So the first layer of behavioral change is the outcome. I read that one to you. The second one is changing your process. This level is concerned with changing your habits and systems. Having the goal is just the first part. The second part is changing your habits and systems, implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering your desk for better workflow, developing a meditation practice. Most of the habits you build are associated with this level. That's level 2. First was outcomes. Second was processes. Third, right? Okay. Third is The third is the deepest layer, and it is changing your identity. This is where I started crying. And like I said, this is my third or fourth read, but something about it hit me this time. Okay. The third and deepest layer is changing your identity. This level is concerned with changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self image, your judgments about yourself and others. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases you hold are associated with this level. Let's talk about this. This is where I say that I can give the woman, my client, the recipe to Coke. We can come up with the best strategy possible. And a lot of times people think coaching is I show up, amazing things are going to happen. Man, coaching is the smartest first step. Coaching is hiring a coach is the smartest first step. You got 2,700 other steps to do. I think for me, by the time I hired my first coach, I was so dang scrappy and had done so much on my own that having someone to give me bits and bobs of advice and to steer me in different directions, that's all I needed. I was running anyway. The fact that she moved me in this direction, run this way. Yeah, I was already running. You're not going to see any change if you ain't running. Ain't nobody had to tell me to run. They were directing me in a different way. They gave me shortcut. Okay, you running here? Matter of fact, take that exit right there. That'll get you there. I'm already running. Many clients that come to me, they want the strategy, and I'm going to give them the strategy. But what I have learned over the years is that their identity has not changed. What good is it that you have this strategy if your identity hasn't changed? It doesn't matter what strategy I give you if you still are the woman who thinks that you can't do it. If you leave me and you have the strategy, but you still are the person who has identified, you have identified with a woman who can't. You have identified yourself with a woman who can't. Let's get deep here. This is where we're going to spend the most time. I remember a family member saying to me when I was 18, 19, that I made bad decisions. And I had made a couple, yeah. It was more so who I was dating. I was 18. Hell, damn. If you can't screw up then, when can you screw up? But I know how black women view other black women, unfortunately. Before the world can view us, a lot of times black women view other black women in a way where our goal, we can't make errors. Everybody else can go make errors. They can have that one bad year, they can have that situation. Everybody else can make errors and then regroup and go again. Black women aren't allowed to make errors. As I've gotten older, I've become more and more aware of how, unfortunately, a lot of us look at each other, and then also how the world looks at us. We are adultified at such a young age and looked at it like I literally haven't been here before. It's a couple people that I say this to regularly, Mom. This is my first go at it. I haven't been here before. Okay. I'm learning too. I'm kind of figuring this out as well. It's just that we typically aren't given the grace of learning. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. I actually wrote that down as a post to share. Because what happens when a black woman fails or her business goes down? Boy, they about to read her for filth online. But then you also have a bucket of people that say, you're not relatable, you're not authentic, you're not sharing things with us. Y'all gonna eat me alive if I share with you XYZ. Because I'm not supposed to fail. Not publicly. Everybody else can fail publicly. We watch it every day. But one of the most like gut wrenching things from this chapter is how often I hear a woman identify with things that she's been told. I did it as well. I remember at some point, I think I was 20 or 21, and been repeating it, y'all. Yeah, I make bad decisions. It's like I popped myself in the head 20 or 21 where I was like, girl, what are you talking about? You have done the best with the resources that you had, and when you had better resources, you made better decisions. Maya Angelou has some type of quote around that. I don't remember how it goes, but it's something around that. And I stopped saying that. But I've told my husband this story. So he jokes and says it all the time. Oh, Chrissy, you don't make it. But he's joking. He always says it when I've just moved a mountain. So he's like reminding me, you make really good decisions. The fact that you even thought for 2 seconds that you didn't is because of X, right? But I was carrying that. It wasn't even my load, but I was carrying that. And I was like, there's a part of the book where he talks about the more you say things, the more your brain and your actions try to identify with those words. Let's pause right here. Y'all catching this? The most important part of this whole doggone book is your identity. Yep, you can learn better habits. Yep, you can get 1% better. Yep, all of that. But if you still talking about walking around with the I am a failure, I am a person who doesn't do good with videos, my content's not good, your outcome are your results, your processes are your habits and systems, your identity are your beliefs and your worldview and your self-image and your judgments. Some parts of your identity or even the people that you're around, but that's a whole nother chapter. I want you to take a moment. I'm going to run to the restroom and I want you to take a moment. You do not have to share this, but if you would like to share it in the chat. I want you to say, I am. I remember when I was pledging, they didn't want us to say, my name is Christy Jackson. They would stop you. No, my name is. I am. I am. The first part of identifying differently, I am. I need you to make some I am statements. I am a woman who. I am a completer. I make great decisions. I'm going to give you this one more example, then I'm going to run to the restroom, but I want you to write down your I am statements. And if you do want to share, please put them in the chat. So imagine two people resisting a cigarette. This is page 32. When offered a smoke, the first person says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. It sounds like a reasonable response, but this person still believes they are a smoker who is trying to be something else. They are hoping their behavior will change while carrying around the same beliefs. The second person declines by saying, "No thanks, I am not a smoker." It's a small difference, but this statement signals a shift in identity. A shift in identity. All right, I'll be right back. Now, ladies, think about how powerful that is. Y'all know I'm not woo woo at all. I ain't woo woo at all. However, I can tell you that I spent at least 3 years identifying with making bad decisions until I stopped saying it. And I said, I make good decisions. James Clear wasn't out of the 8th grade, but I figured that out on my own. Stop saying that. Where did that come from? I am a fit person. I am a runner. I am a successful businesswoman. Then your brain, your habits try to catch up to who you have stated you are. If you get nothing else from me today, I want you to stop saying those things that you want to let go of. Oh, I'm not good at social media. Oh, I'm not good at LinkedIn. I'm not good at YouTube. I'm not, y'all, I struggle with YouTube, okay? Guess what? I'm a YouTuber. I'm gonna keep working on it, okay? If you pay a lot of attention to me, I stopped saying that I was an anxious flyer last year. And I had to catch myself, y'all, because I've been saying it for like, how old am I? I've been saying it for 20 years. I keep identifying with a person who can't fly comfortably. I've tried everything possible to fly comfortably. I don't get business class just because I'm running a business. I'm trying to fly as comfortably as possible. But guess what? I am a calm flyer. The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. He did. I am relaxed while flying on a plane. I'm going to say that one too. The more pride you have in a particular aspect of your identity, hear this out. This is important. Exactly. Wellness coach. The more pride you have in a particular aspect of your identity, the more motivated you will be to maintain the habits associated with it. Going back to my husband, most disciplined person I have in my circle is my husband. And there's a part of the book that talks about that, by the way. I don't care if we are going to South Africa, to London, to Italy. I don't care. My husband is like, "Will you pack me some gym clothes?" And I'm like, "Dang, you want to work out in Lisbon? You want to work out in London?" It's such a part of his identity. And let me read this sentence again. The more pride you have in a particular aspect of your identity, the more motivated you will be to maintain the habits associated with it. Let somebody have a whole bunch of pride in being fine. Tell me I'm lying. If I'm lying, call me a lie. Let somebody have a whole bunch of pride in how long and thick and beautiful their hair is. Let somebody have a whole bunch of pride in their skin. I have a lot of pride in my skin. Do I go to bed without doing the red therapy mask? I do not. My vitamin C goes on every day. Exactly, Bertha. He talks about that in this chapter. This could go either way. The more you identify with the bad habit, the more your brain and your actions will start to try to reach it. Exactly. The man who used to chew his nails down to the quick, and then this woman told him he had nice nails. Write this down in your journal. Write down the things you will stop saying. Don't say, I'm not good with money. Don't say, I don't know how often I've said I'm not an influencer. The universe keeps telling me I am. So I might as well stop saying it. I'm terrible with directions. I'm not a morning person. I'm bad at remembering people's names. I'm always late. I'm not good with technology. I'm horrible at math. When you have repeated a story to yourself for years, it is easy to slide into these mental grooves and accept them as fact. If you have your book, this is page 35. Underline, highlight that part. Exactly, Tamora. In time, you begin to resist certain actions because that's not who I am. Honey, I promise you, chapter 2 gets me in my feelings. Now, page 36, which also is very important. I want to point something out. Your identity emerges out of your habits. You are not born with preset beliefs. Every belief, including those about yourself, is learned and conditioned through experience. More precisely, your habits are how you embody your identity. Write that down. Your habits are how you embody your identity. When you make your bed each day, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you write each day, you embody the identity of a creative person. When you train each day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. Baby, look, I don't know what you need, but let me tell you something else that really stuck out to me. Again, this is why chapter 2 had me pacing the floor. I just wrote powerful. If you can see that, powerful over it right here. Each time you write a page, you are a writer. Each time you write a page, you are a writer. No imposter syndrome here. No need for some special committee to award us the writer status. Each time you write a page, you are a writer. Each time you practice the violin, you are a musician. Each time you start a workout, you are an athlete. Each time you encourage your employees, you are a leader. Decide the type of person you want to be and prove it to yourself with small wins. Spend as much time as you need to on chapter 2. Look, I don't know about you, but my God today. Okay, I see I'm taking a lot of time. So let me move a little faster. We're on chapter 3. How to build better habits in 4 steps. All throughout the book, he goes through these 4 steps: cue, craving, response, reward. And it's a loop. Cue, what's the cue? What's the craving? What's the response? And what's the reward? Okay. Go to page 44. A habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. The process of habit formation begins with trial and error. So on page 47, he talks about the science of how habits work. Okay. First, there is a cue. Okay. Oh, chapter 2 will get you together. Right before I made that video, I had started crying because it touches you, because it reminds you of how often you carry loads that are not yours. Somebody said something, this librarian said something to you and you were 12. You aren't a good reader. You didn't carry that your whole life. Dr. Glenetta, how many little boys carry stuff that some person has told them their whole life and now they're, oh, you're a thug. Well, let me go be one then. Let me go live up to it. That's the deepest chapter in the whole book to me. All right, first, there's the cue. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It is a bit of information that predicts a reward. Okay? Your mind is continuously analyzing your internal and external environment for hints of where rewards are. Okay? A cue is the first indication that you're close to a reward, and it naturally leads to a craving. Exactly. You don't tell kids that they're bad. Y'all, if you have a son that you need help with, Dr. Glenetta, say something in the chat so they can find you. Drop your Instagram, please. Definitely reach out to her. So you have your cue, right? Cravings are the second step, and they're the motivational force behind every habit. Okay? You don't turn on the television. You don't want to turn on the television. You want to be entertained. Do you see the difference? Every craving is linked to a desire to change your internal state. The third state is the response. The response is the actual habit that you keep doing. Okay? Finally, there is a reward. The reward is at the end of every habit. The cue is about noticing the reward. The craving is about wanting the reward. The response is about obtaining the reward. And we chase rewards for 2 reasons. They satisfy us and they teach us. They satisfy us and they teach us. So you need to understand, this is what this chapter is about, understanding the loop of your habit loop, the cue, the craving, the response, the reward. And then getting down to what do you really want from that? For example, food and water deliver the energy you need to survive. Getting a promotion brings more money and respect. Is that something you're really craving? Getting in shape improves your health and your dating prospects. So sometimes we aren't clear on why are we even trying to do this? Okay, I'm trying to get my health better. Look, quiet as it's kept, the 10K steps a day is for two major reasons: my health, and I want to fit all the clothes in my closet. That's it. I can fit about 85% of the clothes in my closet, but I be doggone if that 15% of clothes is fly as hell. I ain't gonna lie to you. Them 15% of the one. Now, granted, I can fit everything in my closet, but some things gonna look like a busted can of biscuits, and I'm honest with myself. Okay, them clothes are fly as hell. Okay, I found them on the real. I got a good deal. It still had the tags hanging. Will look like a busted can of biscuits. So, really, what I want, my reward, is fitting everything in that closet, making sure I have good health. That's it. Identifying that can help me get closer to understanding why I'm doing this and to continue doing it. Does that make sense, ladies? Sometimes you have to also realize if this is your goal or goals others have for you. Absolutely. I want you to take a step back, read the book for yourself. Don't just take my book review, but read the book for yourself. There are so many things that are going to come out and giving you another one. I told my family at 12 I wasn't having any children. I knew at 12 I'm not having no kids. And my mom is like, oh, this is what women are supposed to do. Really? Will they take my womanhood if I don't have them kids? Because I ain't having no kids. I can tell come hell or high water. I'm not having no kids. Do I have children? I do not. It has been on my neck since I was born to, I think she stopped about 28, 29. I guess she was like, she really may not have no kids. I'm gonna leave this alone. My dad was like, leave that girl alone. Damn. But there are so many people walking around with children and they didn't want children. Now I ain't gonna go too deep in that. I don't want to offend anybody. But I can't tell you the amount of women that I have worked with, talked to on a personal level, who didn't want kids, who didn't want to get married, who wanted to travel the world. You have to be very careful of the things that you think. When women ask me about marriage, I ask them questions. Look, I've only been married 7 years. I have a very small amount of advice. But what I will try to do is ask you what you're looking for. Like, what are you hoping to get out of it? You may not need to get married for that. I'm not going to discourage you, but I will answer you honestly. Do you want kids? Why? Are you sure? Some people get fulfillment out of it. Some people are sitting there like, I got 4 kids. And that's what my mom told me women's supposed to do. That's what the Bible said women's supposed to do. And I'm the most miserable woman in the world. Be careful. People will dump their trauma right on your back. And you're 5 and you carry it the rest of your life. And let me tell you something else. It might take a good portion of your life to realize that that's somebody else's drama and trauma and get it off. And that's okay. Just get it off. All we're doing as adults, because just like I said, this is my first go at it. I haven't been here before. I want you to write that down. You literally are learning on the job. And I want to encourage you to learn more about yourself. Learn more about yourself, more about what you want. You. And when I say you, I mean not your mama, not your daddy, not your friends, not your environment, not your grandma. You, independent of everyone's opinion. If you didn't have everyone's opinion, would you want a baby? Or do you want to be on a plane? Not to say that you got to choose one or the other. What do you want? What do you want? Is that what you've been told you want, or is that what you want? That's all I'm saying. All right, let's move on. Chapter 4. Oh, I'm going slow. I'm going to move a little faster, y'all. Before we can build new habits, we need to get a handle on our current ones. Okay? So the note I have for you for chapter 4, this is an assignment. Write this down. I want you to take the time here and make a note of your current habits. And he talks about in the book taking your everyday for a couple of days and writing out what you do. Because you need to assess what you're really doing before you build out what you want to do. I have a similar exercise that I do with my clients, and it is for me to figure out where their time is going. One of the things that I found, this is with habits, this is with business, this is with goals. A lot of times you don't even know where your day went. I know where my day goes. I had to get very clear on it though. Right? I know where my day goes. I know areas where I can automate a little bit more. They talk about that in the book. I also know areas where this has to have my hands to touch. Now, there are only a few things that have to have my hands to touch. Like literally, I have 3 to 4. That's it. I'm talking about in life. Everything else, somebody else could do it just fine. Don't let our ego get in the way with thinking that nothing can be done correctly unless you do it. I have very few things that got to be done by me. Once I find a florist that can make flowers the way that I like, which has been quite difficult. They always try to add in some cheap filler flowers, some doggone baby's breath, and cheap flowers where when I say simple, I really do mean simple. I really mean I just want the whole thing green hydrangea. I don't want you to add nothing else in. Y'all wouldn't believe how much I got to fight with florists on that to where I'm just like, never mind. I do it. Wait till I find one that will do exactly what I ask. Oh, I hate baby's breath. I hate baby's breath. I hate cheap filler. Don't put a dandelion in my crap. I literally hate dandelions. But you trying to fill it out and fluff it out instead of getting me the flowers I asked for. Chapter 5, habit stacking. Habit stacking. I'm going to give you a little note that he points out in the book. And this was so profound to me, okay? In 2001, researchers in Great Britain began working with 248 people to build better exercise habits over the course of 2 weeks. The subjects were divided into 3 groups. The first group was a control group. They were simply asked to track how often they exercised. Track how often they exercised. Group 1. Group 2 was the motivation group. They were asked not only to track their workouts, but to also read some material on the benefits of exercise. The researchers also explained to the group how exercise could reduce the risk of coronary heart disease and improve health. That's group 2. Group 3. These subjects received the same presentation as the second group, which ensured that they had equal levels of motivation. However, they were asked to formulate a plan for when and where they would exercise over the following week. Specifically, each member of the third group completed the following sentence. This is the most important sentence of all of chapter 5. During the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on X day at X time in X place. What group do you think was most successful? Yes, busted can of biscuits. I don't know that maybe there's a delay, but it just came through. Yes, group 3. The people who committed the date, the time, and the place. Plus, they had the goal. Plus, they had the information about why it was important. Carly is in here. Carly, are you still in here? Are you still on, Carly? One of the things that I noticed immediately was when Carly started posting at 8 a.m. I'm like, I know what this is. Do y'all know how I initially grew my Instagram? How I initially grew my Facebook? I posted at the same time every day for like 3 years. Carly is our content pro. She is the person that I recommend to go to. She's in Houston, but will fly to you. So don't let some states and air in between you discourage you. Carly, is there any state that you will not fly to? Just so we know. This chapter, another thing to point out is he talks about implementation intentions. Implementation intentions. Okay. And one of the things that really stuck out to me is having like a backup. I will do this behavior at this time in this location. And if it doesn't work, I'll go this second location. Some examples. I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen. Studying. I will study Spanish for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. in my bedroom. Exercise. I will exercise for 1 hour at 5 p.m. in my local gym. Marriage. I will make my partner a cup of tea at 8 a.m. in the kitchen. Have y'all seen where I have a tracker, a spreadsheet for my 1,000 pitches? If you're on my Substack newsletter, I talked about it, also talked about it in a video. I started it this year. I've given myself until next year. I have my template. I have the companies I want to pitch. So now my goal is to pitch 3 companies at a minimum by 12 p.m. in the day. I will pitch 3 companies by 12 p.m. today from my dashboard. I already have the template. If I need to finagle the template a little bit different, okay, me and ChatGPT or me and Claude. But I have 1,000 pitches tracker. It doesn't mean every pitch is going to be successful, but I'm shooting in the gym, y'all. I'm shooting in the gym. That's how you see Kobe and Michael Jordan be able to make them crazy shots at the buzzer because they've been shooting in the gym. Chapter 6. This is another important chapter. Again, if you haven't read this book, okay, fine. If I had to recommend one book for you to read this year, I couldn't. But this is one of the top 5 I recommend. If I had to recommend, give me 5 books, it would be The 48 Laws of Power. The other book is over here. If I just had to give you 5 books, now who would have messed up my color code? It might be over here. I'll just tell it to you. It's probably upstairs because I flip back through the book all the time. I would read what's the boy's name? Hormozy. Start with the first book of Hormozy. What's that book? Offers. $100 million offers. That one, 48 Laws of Power, which is going to take you a minute. If you're an avid, voracious reader, this will still take you a month. It's going to take a minute. Whoever wins this, you're going to get the concise one. This is the full one. You're going to get the concise one. 100 million offers. Thank you, Carly. So I would read 100 million offers, the 48 Laws of Power, Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. I read that book 100 years ago. It was so good. It helped me so much with networking. I would read Atomic Habits in 12-week year. If I was just picking 5 books, I would start there. Start there. All right. And make the habit of reading a little bit every day. A little bit every day compounds. Because then you're going to have some days. Thank you, Dr. Fletch. Some days you're going to find you got a little bit more time. My books get so ratted and tatted. Okay, I'll add them to my stories. Let me make myself a little pile. My books get so ratty and tatty by the time I finish because I take them with me everywhere when I'm reading them. I'm adding the tags for you all. A lot of times I just write in a book. I'm a write in the book type of person. That's why I can never give somebody my copy of a book, because I got real personal stuff, especially on that I am part. My book is not for children. Okay. All right. Chapter 6, motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. We don't need to talk about that much, but the most important thing I want you to take from this chapter is to architect your environment. This is so important. When you're architecting your environment, it ain't just what's in your environment. That's important too. Okay. You need to architect who is in your environment. I realized early on in my business career, I can't talk to everybody. Work on your environment. Get the bad food out the house. I used to have honey buns in the house. And I know doggone well I don't need to have that in the house. Because if they're in the house, I'm going to eat it. Period. Right? There's no Krispy Kreme close to my house. But when I had a car note, I paid off that car, in 2019? Boy, them years of that car note, I had to pass by a Krispy Kreme. I can't tell you how many times, because I had to pass by that doggone Krispy Kreme. And the bank didn't have online payment. If you mailed it in, it took like 10 days for it to register. So it's like, I will drive there and drop off my car payment. But guess what? Had to pass the Krispy Kreme. I let it be in my environment. I needed to go another way. Okay. Remove the distractions. Remove the wrong people. You have to be very intentional on working on your environment. Okay. Keep in mind, motivation is an emotional response. You cannot trust motivation. Motivation dies. Discipline is much more powerful than motivation. Discipline is political. Motivation is absolutely emotional. There's a difference. If you are relying totally on motivation, you will not hit your goal. Okay. All right, let's go to chapter 8. I'm skipping chapter 7. Chapter 7 is self-explanatory to me. Go to chapter 8. How to make habits irresistible. So basically, this chapter is about coupling the habit with something that you like. All right. I cook every day. Y'all know that. I'll be cooking. What time is it? I cook at about 4:30 every day. So in about an hour and a half, I'll be cooking. I listen to and watch the most ratchet thing I want to watch while I'm cooking. I might listen to Tisa Tales. What's that woman channel? RRG, something like that. I listen to fashion stuff. I have watched the first Monday in September 1,200 times. That's where I watch my clothing videos. Like I have coupled cooking with something fun. I do not listen to work videos too much while I'm cooking because a lot of times the work videos are videos that will help me in business. I got to stop and take notes. So my hands, I got salt and pepper on my hands. That's very hard to do. So I have coupled the activity of cooking with something I like to do, which is watching fashion videos, watching about XYZ. That's when I do it. Okay. After I finish my week and I've done what I needed to do, Saturdays are my Pinterest day. I've said this online before too. When I'm on Pinterest looking at shoes, that means I don't want to talk about work. Everybody knows in my environment, if you see me on Pinterest, that means Christy gone. She gone for the week. She'll be back on Monday. I'm gone. I don't want to talk about nothing. I don't know what happened. I don't know who did it. I don't want to talk about payroll. I don't want to talk about nothing business. I am looking at shoes. I'm looking at vintage Gucci Tom Ford shoes, and that's what I want to focus on. Okay. I'm looking at how many silkworms it takes to make an Hermes scarf. That's what I want to focus on. Right. But that after I have finished what I have needed to finish for the week. Make sense? Chapter 9, the role of family and friends in shaping your habits. This chapter was very powerful as well. I'll point out a couple of things. One of the points that's made in this chapter is we do not choose our earliest habits. We do not choose our earliest habits. We imitate them. We do not choose our earliest habits. We imitate them. Do y'all realize how powerful that is? A lot of your earliest habits, you had no control over that. We get it. You are imitating, right? What you have been taught. One of the most effective things you can do is join a culture where your desired behavior is normal behavior. That's the most important part of that chapter. Let me say that again. One of the most effective things you can do is join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. If you're trying to be fit, get into a community where being fit is normal. That's regular. That's the minimum. If you are trying to be rich and rich for you is 7 figures, get into a group where 7 figures is normal. That's normal behavior. The activities that it takes to get to 7 figures is normal behavior. That is why when people get into communities, they get better. Carly just recently started a content community. You think the women in the community aren't going to get better at creating content? They've specifically immersed themselves in a community. Let me say that one more time. One of the most effective things you can do is join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Let's go to chapter 11. Walk slowly but never backward. One thing that was very important to me in chapter 11 was to get out of planning mode. And we all know women, and you might be that woman who has been in planning mode since the year of the rat, right? You've been in planning mode. You've been fixing to and about to for 1,000 years. Can I tell you something, y'all CEOs? Can I tell you something? If you would just go on ahead and just be it. We're so busy and spinning our wheels and half doing everything that we won't just be. Are you the CEO? If you're the CEO, just be the damn CEO. That's it. You're overcomplicating it. If you're going to be a content creator, be a damn content creator. Do it. If you're going to be a boss, be a boss. Do it. We are spending too much time complaining about the obstacles. They are there. They come with the decision. But if you're going to do it, just do it. I say this to at least one client a week. If you're going to be the CEO, be the CEO. Christy, if you're going to run the business, run the damn business. I say it to myself. You want to be owner? Be owner. Own that crap. Own the good stuff that happens, and own the bad. Now, let me give you a couple of things that help me get out of planning mode. You have to find out what works for you. We're in chapter 11. He talks about how motion feels productive. So you feel like you're busy. You got plenty of busy work. You ain't done nothing. Girl, you've been like Fred Flintstone running in the same place. You've been running in place. I want you to think about, what have you been stuck in planning mode on forever? Now, this is what works for me. This is not in the book. Write this down. This is what gets me out of planning mode, but you have to figure out what gets you out of planning mode. The first thing that gets me out of planning mode is spending money. I want to stop planning, spend some money. Second, follow closely behind, secondly, by signing a contract. Well, guess we doing it. Not only have I spent money, I done signed a contract. Guess it's happening. Now, another thing that gets me out of planning mode is making an announcement. Guys, I'm having an event. Oh, I'm selling tickets. Well, I guess it's happening. Not backing out of this. But I know that puts my feet to the fire where I will get out of planning mode and do it. Right? Earlier this year, y'all, I had surgery. Most of you already know that. It was February 4th. Y'all know what I wanted to do like a week before? Who want to guess? I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it no more. I was sitting there trying to figure out how to get out of it. Now, my husband had worked his whole schedule around being with me for 2 weeks straight before going back to the office. We had already paid the deductible. That is why I went on and did it. Oh, I was sitting there one night, just sitting there trying to cook up. How can I get out of this? What can I say? I have 2 people. I'm just being honest with you. I got scared. So I was sitting there like, these fibroids ain't even that bad. Actually, I feel a little bit better. Lying. I was just trying to get out of it. I have two people in my environment that when I tell them something, they're going to hold me to it. That's another thing that I do. Find that for yourself. Next thing, to get myself out of planning mode, I have to break every project down. Okay. I break it down into sections first. So if I'm doing an event, I can't do the whole event at one time. First, I got to break down the decor. I got to break down the goal. I got to break down the cost. I got to break down the marketing plan. So I break the project down into mini projects. Then I take each mini project and break it down into smaller steps. That is how I break down a goal. Okay. Chapter 12, the law of least effort. This chapter is about, basically, write this down, setting yourself up to win. This is one of the things that I say to myself. This is something I say to clients. How do we set you up to win in this situation? How do we set you up to win in this situation? He talks about we naturally gravitate to the path of least resistance. We naturally gravitate to the path of least resistance. You need to reduce the friction to good behavior. Reduce the friction to good behavior. Going back to the most disciplined person in my life, on Sundays, they lay out 4 sets of workout clothes. Hold on. The shorts, the top, the underwear that match the outfit. I'm not joking. The headbands, and he needs 2. The socks. He matches the workout ring to the outfit color. So he has all these different color. He wears a workout wedding band. He matches the workout wedding band. He lays them out on the dresser. 4 outfits, 4 sets. I have made every manner of joke about that. I had my mama laughing about it. We have gotten a good laugh off this. But is he not doing chapter 12? Reduce the friction to good behavior. People lay out their gym clothes. They meal plan. Now, I ain't doing all of that. And I've laughed until my throat was dry. I'm like, you even need your workout ring out? All right. However, and he ain't ever read this book, Dr. Tracy, ever. But I organize my workout clothes into colors, which let me know you buy a lot of brown and a lot of blue. Who knew? Until I organize them into colors. So now I can open up my blue and brown drawer. Ain't nothing in that drawer but navy blue and brown workout clothes. And I can pull out an outfit real quick. I have my bottom drawer that just has cat suits, workout suits. Because sometimes I don't want a bunch of pressure with the sports bra. And that's the reason I'll wear a full suit. It's a little bit less pressure. But I can only do that if I'm just doing cardio and ain't trying to run. Because if I'm doing something real vigorous, I need sports bra. But just doing that has reduced some of the friction. Does that make sense? What can you do to reduce the friction? Going to chapter 14. How to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. Some of the things I want to point out from chapter 14, he talks about automating as much of life as possible. Automating as much of life as possible. And it made me think about different projects that I have and how I've broken them down as much as possible so that they don't need me. I've shown this to some of my clients. I showed it at Global Power Tour. Let me show you. As an example, this is Canva, and this is my cleaning list. Can y'all see that? This is Canva, and this is my cleaning list. I made it on Canva. So it has little boxes beside it. I don't know if you can see the little boxes. It has little check boxes beside everything. So every time the cleaning team comes, I don't necessarily need them to do every room. Like I might be working here in the office and I don't even want them to come in here. So I scratch the office off. I take each project and I'm thinking, how do I break this down? I just had to go to IKEA on Sunday because I am scheduling a huge house organization day. And I wanted to check out these shelves. I am again trying to take as much of my life as possible and automate it and make it easier. So all the cleaning supplies in the closet are in Spanish and English. Everything is in a container like this. I have probably 1,000 of these in the house. Can y'all see this? Okay, here we go. Y'all see this? I hired the organizer. Okay. The organizer, for example, she did this. What does it say? Inks on here. So my inks for my printer are in here. We have a couple printers around here. Everything is labeled. Everything is labeled. The whole office closet is labeled. I've shown that to you guys before. If I need batteries, it's labeled. I know where the batteries are. All of my items that I put in the bags for Global Power Tour and other events, it's labeled in the closet. All the cleaning supplies are labeled. Depending on who's coming, that's why they're in Spanish and English. I had a whole cabinet, right? Because many of you know for a period of time, we were flying out every single weekend from August till December. I had a packing list. So Katie, who would come and help, Katie would pack my packing list according to how long we would go. You may have never noticed this, but when we would go to South Africa, we would always be there at least 1 month. It may not have been noticeable. It might just be like, hey, she's still in South Africa. One time we were there for 9 weeks. So almost 2 months. So Katie, I gave Katie a list. She knew if we were going for a short trip or a long trip. So in my cabinet that I got from IKEA, it's my beauty cabinet. I have a drawer and I try to get all my beauty products in travel size. So if we are just going for the weekend, Katie knows pack her travel size of these items. If we were going for a month, she knew to put the full bottle in there. I might have to wash my hair 3 times while we gone. You see what I mean? Yes, it took some work on the front end, but on the back end, it took it all off my plate. Some of y'all have been on a coaching session with me and you see Katie zooming behind me. She don't even talk to me. She had her list. She could pack, she could unpack my clothes. I want you to look at your life and I want you to ask yourself, how can I automate as much as possible? That's what chapter 14 is about. Okay, last chapter I'm going to discuss is 17. 17, how an accountability partner can change everything. I have done 25 mastermind teams since 2010. Okay, I've had several years where I did 2 and 3. I started doing accountability partners. I think it was mastermind team number 7 or 8. The difference that made in my mastermind teams was profound. Just giving the women someone to be accountable to, right? made them reach their goals a lot quicker. And it was one of those last minute thoughts I had. Like, I'm gonna assign each person an accountability partner. And it was an odd number of attendees. So one lady, I had to be her accountability partner. I bet she hated that. Like, how the heck I get you? I don't know, girl, but every morning, hey, what we got? What you got done? Good morning. You got me. So finding an accountability partner can make a major difference in you achieving your goals. I hope that I have talked enough about this book for you to read it. I think that sometimes we think that when things are super effective, that they need to be Chinese math. They need to be, so hard. When I'm telling you, sometimes the most effective things that you can do is to take a step. I may not to invite a few folks to read. You're going to invite a few folks to read it? Oh, it's so good. My reread and preparing for you guys, I had some ahas. That's why I tell you, take some of the books before you buy new books. I need you to take some of your books and reread them. Okay? Okay, giveaway. Let me tell you what I'm giving away. This is my copy. I bought them. Right? The book is practical. I bought them for myself because I have every book that Robert Greene has written. He's my favorite author. I was like, the concise. What is that? Like, what are they going to leave out? Because all of these books are so good. I'm like, what part will he leave out? I don't understand. But I bought the little set and I liked it. I said, you know what? If this gets people to tackle it, then you should read it. 48 Laws of Power. I've been talking about this. I read this book when I was 19. I know I be getting on my husband's nerves because I quote, not a week goes by where I don't quote a law from the 48 Laws of Power. I'm trying to think, what did I quote this weekend? About envy. We were watching something. We were watching a show called Mr. Mercedes. And I quoted a law from the 48 Laws of Power. When I tell you this book, and y'all, this is the thing. There is so much information in books. Yes, AI. Yes, articles. Yes, YouTube. Yes, blogs. But some of the stuff is just in a book, y'all. It's in a book. I try not to overwhelm my clients. I'm sure I do with, okay, you need to read this book. But I'm thinking about, I don't want you to just take my word, because my word, you could remember it or not. When you read something and then you take notes, you retain things better and you remember them so you can draw back to them. So the 48 Laws of Power is just that. Who knows the first law of the 48 Laws of Power? Who's ever read this book? It feels like it should be one of them old karate shows where their mouth and the words don't line up. First law, never outshine the master. I definitely need to get a bigger bookshelf. Does the little version have all? It does have all 48, but like law number 1, never outshine the master. It's only 4 pages. Whereas in the full book, Never Outshine the Master, 48 Laws of Power goes through all these different stories in history. They're real stories. So he gives a law, but then he now follows up the law with all the reasons why he gives that law. Okay. So like in the original book, law number 1 is 7 pages. And another thing that he does all throughout the book, which is why I say it takes a little bit longer to read. All throughout the book, he has additional stories in red. You see the red part? Those are additional stories about the law. The little book, he has some. It's some. You can see this. How do influencers do? How they put their hands behind stuff? He has some red. There we go. Okay. So 48 Laws of Power. This has been a top business book for 100 years. Where some people are like, how is that a business book? If you read it, you'll know. Another important book in this little set, The 33 Strategies of War. My minister says all the time, business is warfare. Business is warfare. Business is, that's a quote. He says it all the time. Business is warfare. In some ways it is. This whole book goes through 33 strategies of how you can be a more strategic thinker. And again, he follows it up with a story on why. And these are from wars, from different things that people did. People who were advisors to the king and how they were able to rise above the king, stuff like that. Okay. Now, The Art of Seduction. You might be thinking, Christy, is that a business book? Yes. The Art of Seduction is a business book. You can use it however you want to use it. But so many parts of business is seducing. So many parts of your negotiation is seducing. Exactly, Dr. Tracy. Selling has a lot to do with seducing. Mastery. I thought that this book was very good because of how much we think that you are going to be amazing at something overnight. Okay. He talks about how to be considered a master in the past, you had to work 20 years under a cobbler or whatnot. Whereas right now, we like, I got a week. I got roughly about a week. Make me a master. But anyway, these are the 5 books. I have a brand new set upstairs. I'm going to ship this out to you by this weekend. And I have picked the Service Shift Lady. What's your name, ma'am? As the winner. The Service Shift. Madame, send me a DM on Instagram with your first and last name. Ayana, I didn't know that was you, girl. Well, send me your address. I know your name now. Send me your address. This will get to you quick then. So, guys, let me know. Do you like the book breakdowns? Let me know. You're welcome. Do y'all like the book breakdowns? Do y'all like these? Now, let me say this one more time. Make sure to read things for yourself. Okay? I will do these as long as you guys show up and are engaged. Thank you, Dr. Tracy. You like the breakdowns? Okay, good. I enjoyed the book breakdown and how it applied to where I am and where I need to go. That's why I thought about you. I was sitting there stopping and making under my notes, Dr. Fletch notes. Our next book, I'm going to drop it today. I have a whole little list. So I have the whole mindset list. I'm going to decide within the next hour. Let me go get the little dog. He was mad that I put him back up. Oh, he was, I thought I was going to be down there with you doing a book breakdown until he started biting my ankles. Anyway, guys, go and read this book. You're looking for different things that can really impact your business. And I'm trying to give them to you. Whether you book coaching, whether you come to an event, I'm trying to give it to you. This is my give back. I'm a free Monaco. I told my husband yesterday it was 7:31. I said, Kevin, it's 7:31, and somebody is already on punishment. Kevin said, how are you on punishment at 7:31 in the morning? I said, I'm gonna tell you what he did. He was on punishment, y'all, already. 7:31 in the morning, Monica was on punishment. I bet she got some things done with you as accountability. I'm going to find an accountability partner. Y'all, we all need an accountability partner for sure. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go on and go. You guys have a great afternoon. Let me hold up the book. I would love for you to take a screenshot of me with the book and do a post on Instagram and talk about how you like the book breakdown. Do that for me. Give that back to me. Here, you can take a screenshot. Everybody got their screenshot? Got your screenshot? All right. Post how the book breakdown was for you and tag me. Tag Women CEO Project. You did? You took some video? Okay. I'll see you guys later. Bye.